things just got real in Las Vegas. The Raiders might be facing a serious blow before the season even begins. Superstar defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, one of their biggest offseason additions, could miss a major chunk of the 2025 season. And the reason? His foot injury from last year might not have healed properly. Let's rewind a bit. Wilkins got hurt back in week 5 last season. At the time, insiders said if the Raiders had made the playoffs, he might have returned. But when they got eliminated early, Wilkins sat out the rest of the season to recover fully. Now, here's the twist. According to a report by NFL insider Tony Pauline from Sportskeeda, Wilkins might not be in the clear. In fact, sources say his foot still isn't right, and he might need another surgery. That could mean missing a huge part of this season, too. Pauline's report even suggests that the Raiders could be thinking about a backup plan, possibly targeting Michigan's Mason Graham or Missouri's Armand Membu in the draft, depending on how things play out. The most shocking part? Wilkins had surgery to fix a Jones fracture in his foot, but that same injury might be back to haunt him and the Raiders. If this report holds true, Vegas could be without their defensive anchor for a long time. If this report turns out to be true, the Raiders could be in big trouble. This season was supposed to be the season for Las Vegas, a full-on push to win now. Everything the Raiders have done lately points in that direction. They locked in leaders like Max Crosby. They kept Malcolm Kuntz, even though they already had young talent like Tyree Wilson waiting in the wings. Moves like that tell you one thing. They're not thinking about a rebuild. They're going for it. And Christian Wilkins? He was meant to be a huge part of that plan. With nearly $30 million tied to him this year, he's not just a player, he's an investment. So if he's not ready to go, that's a huge issue. Here's where things get even more interesting. Just days ago, Wilkins was spotted at workouts, no foot wrap, no limp, no sign of any issue. That's why this new report caught everyone off guard. Could he have re-injured the foot during practice? Something behind closed doors? Most of the practice sessions weren't even open to the media, so anything could have happened without us knowing. If Wilkins does end up missing time, it would seriously hurt the Raiders' defensive line. But here's a key question. If he's only out for, say, 8 weeks, does it really make sense to draft a replacement at number 6 overall? Especially when he's under contract for the next 3 years? That's where names like Mason Graham come in. He's a strong run defender, one of the best in this draft class. Sure, he's not as polished as guys like Jalen Carter or Kalijah Cansey when it comes to pass rushing, but he's got potential. Would I love the pick? Not really, but I wouldn't hate it either, especially if the top names are already off the board. But again, the real question isn't just who they might draft, it's whether this foot injury is serious. And with the draft coming up tomorrow, we might not have to wait long to find out. We're going to get answers soon, maybe even within hours. Right after the draft, we're expecting a press conference from Pete Carroll and John Spytek. If not late Thursday night, then first thing Friday morning. And you can bet Raiders beat reporters will ask the question that's on everyone's mind. What's really going on with Christian Wilkins' foot? Is the injury legit? Will he need surgery? The report by Tony Pauline says he might need another procedure. That's not something reporters just throw out there. It's a very specific claim. And Tony's not the type to make things up. Still, might need isn't the same as will need, so we'll have to wait for confirmation. Hopefully we get some sort of update in the pressers. Now, while we wait, let's shift gears. Let's talk about who the experts think the Raiders could take at pick number 6. A bunch of final mock drafts just dropped. Names from respected guys like Todd McShay and Joel Klatt. One name that keeps coming up? Kelvin Banks. McShay has him going to the Raiders, and it's caused quite the debate on Twitter. Would it be a smart move? Honestly, I'm not so sure. Kelvin Banks has talent, but a lot of scouts think he'll end up playing guard, not tackle, in the NFL. And if you're using the 6th overall pick on a guard, that's risky. Guards with similar or better value can be found in the 2nd or 3rd rounds, and even if Banks does play tackle, he's a natural left tackle. The Raiders already have Colton Miller. So if they pick Banks, could that signal they're planning to move on from Miller? Possibly. Sure, Banks could switch to right tackle, but he hasn't really played there, and if the Raiders are truly looking for a right tackle, guys like Amarius Mims or Will Campbell might be better fits. Bottom line, taking a left tackle at number 6, especially one who might be better as a guard, would be a bold move. maybe too bold. Let's see what happens. Draft day is almost here. Let's talk about a few more mock draft predictions, because there are some interesting names being linked to the Raiders at pick 6. Peter Schrager thinks the Raiders could go with Amarius Mims, and honestly, I could see that happening. Rich Eisen, on the other hand, has the Raiders taking Jalon Walker. Now, I get the appeal. Walker's got upside, he's athletic, and there's potential. But here's my thing. Sometimes you've got to stop chasing potential and just pick the guy with the best tape, the one who's already producing and showing traits that will translate at the next level. Walker's played a lot of linebacker, and here's the thing about linebackers. It's a system position. Some of the best linebackers in the NFL were drafted in the 4th round or later. It's rare, though not impossible, that the first linebacker taken ends up being the best one. Now, sure, Walker has played some edge too, and he has traits you can develop. But if you're drafting an edge, why not take the guy who's already shown the best tape at that position? Unless the Raiders are looking for a Swiss Army knife kind of player, someone who can line up in multiple spots, I'd rather go with someone more proven. Joel Klatt has the Raiders taking Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. That pick could make sense, especially if the rumors about Christian Wilkins' foot injury turn out to be true. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There's a guy on Twitter named Slick Rick. Some of you know him, some don't. He's gained a big following over the last year by breaking legit NFL news before it goes public. He called the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase contract news days before it happened. Now he's saying Walter Nolan could be a surprise top 10 pick in the draft. And I don't disagree. Walter Nolan is a beast. He's got this rare quickness off the snap, something you can't really teach. Sure, a defensive tackle can get stronger, learn better hand moves, improve his technique, but you can't teach movement like that. You either have it or you don't. Think about it. Jordan Davis will never move like Jalen Carter. Christian Wilkins, great player, but he doesn't have the elite movement of someone like Kalijah Kancey. And when you're drafting a DT, movement might be the most important trait. That's why Nolan could very well be the first defensive tackle off the board. Would the Raiders take him? Maybe. But if they go with Mason Graham instead, it might be because they believe the Wilkins injury is serious. Finally, Mike Mayock, the Raiders' former GM, has the team taking Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. Now, I love Jeanty's game. And yeah, running backs touch the ball a lot. Up to 30% of offensive snaps, especially someone like Jeanty. He's a playmaker, no doubt. But the problem? Running backs don't last long. They take hits, they wear down faster. And in today's NFL, it's harder to justify using a high pick on one, even a really good one. Peter Schrager thinks the Raiders might take Armin Mao. Fair enough. But Rich Eisen has us going with Jalon Walker. Now, I'm not too sold on Walker. Sure, he's got potential, but let's be real. Sometimes potential isn't enough. Sometimes you just need to take the guy with the best tape and proven production. Walker played a lot of linebacker. And linebacker is one of those positions. You can find a great one in the 4th round. The top linebacker in a draft class? Usually not even the first one taken. Walker also plays edge, and yes, there's upside there. But if you're going edge, why not grab someone who already looks like a beast on film? Someone with proven results, like Abdul Carter, if he's still on the board. Otherwise, you're gambling on a hybrid player. Then there's Mason Graham. Joel Klatt thinks the Raiders could go D-tackle. And if that Christian Wilkins rumor is true, Graham makes a lot of sense. But here's the twist. He might not even be the first D-tackle taken. Enter Slick Rick. If you follow Raiders Twitter, you probably know the name. This guy has been dropping insider info before it hits the news. He called the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase contracts days before anyone else. And now, he's saying Walter Nolan might sneak into the top 10. I believe it. Walter Nolan's tape is special. His first step, his quickness, it's rare. With D-tackles, movement is the #1 trait. Strength, technique, leverage, you can teach that. But movement, that's natural. Walter Nolan moves like no one else in this class. Better than Jordan Davis. More fluid than Christian Wilkins. It's just different. And if he's really rising, Mason Graham might not be the guy. But let's not forget, Mike Mayock, the Raiders' former GM, has us taking Ashton Jeanty. I wouldn't hate it. He's a running back who could touch the ball 30% of the time. Massive production. But here's the thing: running back value and draft day rumors. Running backs don't last as long as other positions. Nick Chubb had 4 elite seasons. Since then, just okay. Most guys aren't Derrick Henry. He's the exception. Most? They're more like Melvin Gordon, solid for a while, then fade fast. I like Ashton Genie, but here's the truth. There are other backs who can give you 4 or 5 years of elite play, and you can find them in round 2 or 3. Just pick the one with the best tape. Forget upside. That's how you avoid the Zamir White situation, drafting based on potential and ending up disappointed. Now, let's talk rumors. Slick Rick dropped a bomb. He says the Commanders and Giants are in trade talks, but not for Washington to move up. It's the Giants trying to jump back into the first round for a quarterback. That matters, especially if Shadir Sanders is still available when the Raiders pick at 38. At pick 6, it's a debate. But at 38, no brainer. You take that shot. Let him sit and develop. Huge upside for little risk. The Giants might think the same. They could take a star defender early, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, and then trade back into round 1 for a quarterback. Why does that matter for us? Because the Raiders might love Shadir Sanders too, or Jackson Dart, or someone else. But if you wait until pick 38, you risk losing that 5th-year option you only get with a first-rounder. So if you want a quarterback, you might have to trade up. And now you know the Giants are making moves. So maybe it's time to act fast. Oh, and another rumor? The Bears are trying to move up to pick number 3. They've reportedly offered pick 10 plus both their second-rounders to the Giants. They've got picks 39 and 41, just after the Raiders' 38th pick. Things are getting wild. And for the Raiders, every move matters. So the Bears hold 2 later picks, and they're reportedly trying to package them with the 10th pick to move all the way up to number 3. At first, I thought they were targeting Ashton Genie, or maybe even Armin. I figured they wanted to jump ahead of the Raiders to get their guy. We already know how much Ben Johnson likes Genie, so that theory made sense. But then, Slick Rick came in and cleared things up. He said the Bears aren't looking to draft Jenny at all. In fact, he said if the Bears trade up, it's to get Abdul Carter, not Jenny. That's a big shift. Now, if the Bears can't move up, they might try to trade down from 10 and ask for a swap plus extra picks. And honestly, there are a lot of teams looking to trade, some up, some down. It's chaos right now. But here's the thing. The Bears know that whoever they get at 10 probably won't be close to the level of Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. Even the guys in the second round might not be near that level. That's why they're pushing hard to move up. Let's say they do it. They land a star player, and for the next 10 years, they're set. Meanwhile, the Giants, who hold that number 3 pick, could move back to 10 and maybe still grab a quarterback. It's a win-win if it plays out right. As for the Raiders, we're hearing they might want to trade down too, but remember, most of these calls never go anywhere. Teams talk all the time. Raiders might call the Niners, Bears might call the Giants, but nothing always comes of it. Sometimes it's just about leaking the info to insiders like Tom Pelissero or Adam Schefter, hoping another team gets interested. And speaking of insiders, Slick Rick is one of the best. He's broken stories days before they became public. Sure, he's been wrong sometimes, but that's usually because deals fall through at the last second. Still, he's more accurate than most. Oh, and this is interesting. Tom Brady is reportedly very involved in the Raiders' draft decision at number 6. That report came from Todd McShay. Not surprising, right? Brady isn't just working for Fox. He's part owner of the Raiders. He's got Mark Davis's ear, and he's clearly influencing things behind the scenes. Look at what the Raiders have done, bringing in Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, and replacing a successful GM with someone Brady has worked with before. Some say it's even someone Brady can control a bit, John Spytek. All signs point to Brady being hands-on. The draft's tomorrow. A lot's about to change. And just so you know, I won't be live during the draft, but I'll drop a video as soon as the Raiders make their pick. Within 20 minutes. I might go live after their pick, but before, probably not. It's a long wait, and I get drained. Each pick takes about 10 minutes, so by the time we get to number 6, it's already an hour in. But hey, I'll be posting updates on Twitter, and I might go live earlier in the day, around 12:30 or 1 p.m. Pacific time, for a pre draft chat. We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thumbs up, subscribe, and get ready. Tomorrow, this team could look a whole lot different.